So first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you have Sims 4 Studio downloaded. So you can go to the website, I'll link it in the description. Pick the version that corresponds to you, and then follow the instructions to download it. The other program that you're going to need is Blender 2.79, and again I will link it in the description, and then we can get started. So once you have Sims 4 Studio downloaded, you're going to go to Create 3D Mesh, then click Cast, then we're just going to search Nude, and since we're making a shirt, we're going to click this one right here. Now this first file is going to be the name of the package file, so when someone downloads your shirt, this is going to be the name of it. So of course pick where you want to save it, and we'll name it Poofy Long Sleeve. And then we'll click Save. Then you're going to go to the Mesh tab and click Export Mesh, and we'll name it Poofy Long Sleeve Mesh. And just let that do its thing. Then you can close out. Now we're going to click Cancel and click Cast again. Delete Nude. Now we're going to find a shirt that looks like the one we're creating. And this one's probably close enough. The name of this package file doesn't really matter, so just name it whatever, and then go to Export Mesh, and then name it REF for reference, then hit Save. And now we are gonna go into Blender 2.79. So click File, Open, and go to that folder and open the mesh file. Close that bar, close this one, bring this over, press Tab, and then you're going to want to click this button right here, so that way whatever is done over here is done over here. You're also going to want to click, you don't have to do this, but I like to do everything in Faces. So now we're going to want to bring in the OBJ. So go to File, Import Wavefront OBJ, and then click the low poly one that we made in Zbrush. You'll know it looks a little different than doing it in without going through Zbrush because it's pink. So once you have it in, you should see a couple groups. Just hold Shift and click the name of all of them, then click in the 3D space and press Ctrl J. Then press Tab and G and just move this over here. Then we can press A and then Object Mode, and now we need to bring in our reference, which I'm going to do a different reference. I thought we were making a different shirt than what we are, so just a basic long sleeve will work. So to bring in the reference, oh, and let's name this shirt. shirt and name this nude. Then click on the shirt, click File, Append, and click the reference, then Object, Studio Mesh. If there's more than one Studio Mesh, you need all of them, so you'd click it, hold Shift, and click the rest. But this one only has one, so you just need to click the one. Right click and delete bone shape, and then right click and delete rig. Also, to move around in Blender, this is rolling the roll wheel, this is clicking the roll wheel, this is shift and clicking the roll wheel, and that's the basics. Alright, so we'll name this reference. So click your ref, hold shift and click your shirt, then go over here, click add modifier, data transfer. These steps are important, so watch carefully. Source object, reference, face to nearest interpolated, UVs, all layers UV1 by name. Oh crap, when you bring your shirt in, you have to click this triangle, so you should do this when you first import it, and change it to UV_0, and then click the plus sign and do UV_1. All EA things are set up like this, so you want yours to be too. So again, with the data transfer, ref, shift, click shirt, add modifier by name to UV1. So source object reference, check this box, nearest face interpolated UV, change this to UV1 and this to UV1, then click apply. Then we can hide our reference for now. Now we want to press tab on nude, and we're going to want to delete anything that's covered up on under the shirt because it's unneeded faces and adds unnecessary poly count. So press C and then click your roll wheel to delete all these, or to deselect the faces that are showing. So I'm just using my maneuver, C, and clicking my roll wheel to deselect the faces that are showing, so that the faces that aren't showing stay highlighted. That way I can delete them. Alright, so once you got it to where only what's covered is orange, click into the 3D space and press X, faces. And then we're just gonna look around and double check and see if we made any holes that aren't covered up. So right there, so we're just gonna press Ctrl Z, C, delete that one, X faces again. And what we're doing is deleting the body underneath of the shirt because we don't need it. And it lowers the poly count and creates more space for us to add the texture. So once you did that, click the name of your shirt, press tab, go over here, change it to UV0, press A, bring this box back out, under shading, click these three to make it smooth, and then press W and click remove doubles, and then click your shirt, hold shift, click the name nude, click into the 3D space and press Ctrl J. Then press tab and you see it's all together. Press A and press A. Open. Then you're going to want to open the sim body template, which I will provide. And now we want to get this UV over and anywhere in the green template. So I'm going to press A. I like being in faces mode because then I can just press L and do this to move it easier. So this is G is to grab, R is to rotate, S is to scale, and that's pretty much it. So I'm just gonna kind of position stuff. When you do this, you're gonna want it to try and be as big as it can be, because the bigger it is, the better the texture can be. But you do your best to try and make sure everything is the same size. So don't like scale this to be super huge and your sleeves really tiny, because then the texture can look a little funky. Okay, so I'm just gonna scale it down. Like I said, you can put it anywhere in the green spot. Because the green is for top. And you want to make sure nothing is overlapping here, because if it is, then the texture will overlap. And you also want to make sure you don't put something in the wrong spot. So if you're doing a shirt, make sure it's in the green spot. Bottom and bottom, shoes. If you make a shirt and you put the texture, say if I put this right here, when you put on a pair of pants, it's going to have the texture of the shirt on the pants, so we don't want that. Alright, so that looks good, nothing's overlapping, so we're just going to file, save as, merged, because this is when we merged the meshes. Now we need to bring our reference back. Open this up more. Click reference, hold shift, click nude. Change it to weight paint. Click this box and change it to solid. Then we're going to go here and click transfer weights. Change vertex map to nearest face interpolated. Source layer to by name, and then destination should change to all layers. Then we're going to click clean, make sure this says 0, and then limit total, make sure it says 4. If this box pops up at top, you did it right. So we can delete our reference, and if you want to double check, over here under vertex group, find breast, and if it's on top, then you did it right. Say you were looking at so right here, if this green was underneath of the shirt instead of on top of the shirt, you would have done it wrong. Normally that happens if you don't unhide your reference. Alright, so now we're going to save that as WP for weight paint. Alright. Now we're going to change this to vertex paint, and right here we're going to click this white bar, click hex, and type 00FF00, and then hit enter. Then down here, click paint, set vertex colors. File, save as, vertex paint. Alright, so now technically this is a workable mesh, but we're going to do one more thing, and that's close the holes. So go to edit mode, and over all the parts of the body, hold shift and press L. Click in the 3D space and press P, selection. That separates the body from the shirt. Press tab, and now all the holes, so the bottom of the shirt here and the sleeve holes, we're gonna close them. So change it to edge select right here, hold alt and right click one of the little edges, press E, click, and then press S, and then just use your roll wheel or just slide your mouse to bring it in. Then we're going to change back to faces, press Alt, right click, hit space, and then press edge and edge split. Now the reason why we do the edge split is because so here's what it looks like if we don't do the edge split. So you see that gray line? That'll mess up your texture, so that's the reason why we do the edge split. So again, that's in face mode, alt, right click, space, edge split. And we're just going to do that for the rest of the holes. So alt, right click, E, left click, S. And for this one, for collars, I like to bring it down. And again, faces, alt, right click, space, edge split, and then the sleeve holes. Alt, right click, E, S, faces, alt, right click, edge split, Alright, and then the last thing we're going to do before we put it into Blender or Sims 4 Studio is do some preemptive fixes. So while the mesh is still separated, we're going to go into sculpt mode, open this back up, change this to grab, and then make this a little bigger. And I always pull this out a little bit. And then if you bring this down, if you see how there's kind of points right here, if those points are really close to the edge of the mesh, go ahead and just move your mesh a little bit, because most likely the body's gonna clip there when you change body size. So again, we're just doing a little bit of preemptive fixing. The collar area usually is fine. It's usually around the stomach and around sleeve holes where a lot of clipping happens on shirts. So like I said, we're just taking some preemptive measures, because if we could get it in game and not have to come back out and fix stuff, we can go straight to texturing. If not, you have to make fixes and then go in game, check them, come out, fix, la-di-da-di. Alright, so we'll see how that does. Go back to object mode. Click on your shirt, hold shift, click on your body. Actually, before you do that, let's bake a texture. So press tab and then press A. Down here, click this X, new. We're going to do a high quality texture, so we're going to do 2048 times 4096. If you want to do the same numbers as EA, it's 1024 by 2048. Then we're going to go over here, change it to object mode, delete this first one, and let's just put a color on it. And I like to do Orinaire instead of Lambert. And then we're going to click all these lamps, turn the camera off, and then rig. We're going to do all these off just by clicking them. And the rest of the body we're going to turn off. Then over here, we'll change margin to 2, and then change ambient occlusion to bake, or full render, and then click bake, just so we can get a cool image color, and then save as tester. And if you delete that, change this to ambient occlusion, bake it, image, save as. This will be for our ID map, so just name that ID map. Alright, so now we're going to go into Sims 4 Studio, open up our package file. I'm just going to rename this. So I thought it was a different one than what it is. And go to mesh, import mesh. Oh, crud. So after you bake your texture, unhide the body, press the name nude, hold shift, click that, click in the 3D space, press Ctrl J to make it 1, and then file, save as, and we'll save this as closed. Alright, so now we're going to go into Sims 4 Studio and open up the closed, import the closed file. So depending on the size of the mesh and the decency of your computer, this could take a long time. If it's only a few polys, it won't take very long at all. Alright, so if you get something that looks like this, you're doing good. Don't worry, it's just because there's no texture on it that it looks like that. This is where you can take a look at your poly count. A mesh under 15,000 polys for a shirt meets TSR standards, so we're kosher dosher there. So we're just going to go to texture, and under diffuse, click import and bring in that tester color. Yeah, now we have a nice little color on our shirt. And for swatch, on this first box, right click, click over here. Now we're going to go meshes, or categories, and we're just going to select all the category stuff that we want. I know I'm going to put all the colors on there. Always make sure you check feminine, because that's never checked unless you do a full body because you use lingerie. Make sure not to check nude for outfit type. The leather. It's not a leather shirt, but all of my stuff can be found by checking leather, so that's why I always click leather. And then t-shirt, and then uncheck allow for random. Then save everything. Now you're gonna go into your mod folder. So documents, electronic arts, Sims 4, mods, and then whatever folder you want to put it in. And then you're gonna take your package file and drop it into your mods folder, and now we go in game to test it. So for my stuff, it's always under red, leather, and here it is. And I'm just gonna make her hair a little shorter just so we're seeing the whole shirt. So that's how the shirt looks so far. So what we can do now is we want to stress test it. So we're going to change our Sim's body to do that. So we're going to check a muscle body. So we see we have a little clippage right there. And then we're going to check a chunky body. You can also make it walk. Make your Sim walk to see if there's any clipping under the arms that we don't see. And so it looks like there was only that little bit of clipping right here on the muscle body. So what we'll do is we'll just go back into Blender and use the sculpt mode and just pull that forward. But that is how you get a mesh through Blender 2.79 and into game.